Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is the scene for Swift of the Howling Wind, War of the Apocalypse venue, set in San Diego. So Dev, sweet dear Dev had himself a rather interesting, to say the least, more like horrific, mind-shattering moment where he woke up and his wife was there beside him. And he could hear his son sleeping down the hall. And he proceeded to travel himself down this reality where his wife hadn't died. It was all a nightmare. Everything that he had been through for the past 10 or so years was just, no, it wasn't real. It wasn't. He had finally woken up, escaped this hell. And his son came into the room, ran, Daddy, threw himself at him. They shared a beautiful, bonding, loving moment. And he couldn't quite put his finger on why, but during all of this, he felt just this anger flowing through him. It's unidentifiable rage just pulsing under his skin. His wife began to notice. His son grew weary. He tried so hard to shake it off, to just really live in this moment again with his family. Unfortunately, the beast within him welled out, and everything erupted into a flash of blood and screams and rage. His wife lay broken at his feet, her body trying to cover their son to no avail, his throat ripped open, and their blood covering Dev. At that point, Dev realizes it wasn't true. It was just a vision. And Tolia is sitting in the corner of his room, half hidden in shadows, looking at him.
Well, when he comes to realizing that it was a dream, he just starts. It's like this half scream, half sob. Uh, and then he notices that he isn't alone. And he looks over.
Tolia smiles softly. His look is very similar to the one in his overlay. You know, out of all of those who have crossed paths with me, come into my life, I have to say, you cut deepest. I can't even really say you have disappointed me the most. No. He holds his hand up. A beautiful ring on it. On his left hand. No smile.
He looks at it.
It's beautiful, no?
It is.
Mm. Do you know who it belongs to?
Shakes his head.
Alyssa. She and I were married today. And we've adopted Cora. I've put the paperwork in. There will be nothing to contest it. So she is as good as ours.
Oh, he feels dizzy. heart pounding in his ear. Clears his throat. Congratulations, Ray.
Congratulations. Thank you. You. The only reason I haven't buried you yet is because it's not my place. We are going to die. Oh my God. It's coming for you. And you're not going to know when or where or how or who. It could be me. It could be Jesse. It could be Reese. Or Isadora. Or your father. Or Reese. Or Allie. He'll get up and walk closer to her.
He hugs his pillow.
And he'll sit on the bed. So I have a bit of advice for you, if you would take it in this time. Cherish what time you have left. Because you're a dead man walking.
He nods slightly.
She is happy. I can give you that comfort, Allie.
He nods.
I do love her very much. It is my love for her that keeps me from taunting you with the pleasures of our relationship. And I'll do my best to take care of her.
He nods.
He'll reach into his pocket and pull out 2 cigarettes. Kind of, knock them out of the pack. Menthols. And he'll light them and pass them one.
He'll take it.
What?
He shakes his head. It doesn't matter. But he shakes his head and he says, it doesn't matter.
Oh, well. Why don't you let me be the judge of that? I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not here to do anything to you. I'm just listening. I'm going to take a long drag off the cigarette and blow it out.
Like a priest to take my last confession before I die.
Did you say you want a priest to take your last confession, or I'm like a priest taking your last confession?
He said he's like a priest.
Ah. My dear, you don't even have that. Everybody knows what you did. What is there to confess? I told you, when you first came to me, when you first came to the Talons, not to fall. Well, there were fates worse than being a spiral, remember?
Yeah.
You found it. And I told you at the time that if you did, I wouldn't show you a shred of mercy, didn't I?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
That's why I'm not killing you.
Because that would be a mercy.
Mm-hmm. I'm just taking everything you wanted. Slowly, bit by bit, as your life slips through your fingers. There's nothing you can do to grasp it. Are you a fan of Joss Whedon?
Yeah.
Here lies everything, the world I wanted at my feet. My victory complete. So hail to the King. Arise and sing. So your world's benign. So you think justice has a voice, and we all have a choice. Well, now your world is mine, and I am fine. And he'll just drag off the cigarette.
He drags off his too.
He'll pat his cheek.
He gives a half-hearted smile.
He looks him over. He tilts his head. There's one thing I'm curious of.
But
Do you care that you've heard so many? Melissa, Reese, Theo, Jesse. I could keep going, but he'll shrug like he doesn't want to belabor the fucking point. That's the only thing I just need to know. Do you care?
yeah, I do.
He nods. You know, I really did care so much about him. I care so much, but I say this is in past tense, so you've already left us, or that I've already lost you. I just take his hand. There's so much potential that was here. So much he tears up, a little tear in his eye, and shakes his head. You hurt me too, you know. And yet I still care so much about you. I love you. You know that, right?
You know,
I hate seeing you suffer like this. I can see it in your eyes, you know? I can see all of the pain and torment in your eyes. He chews his lip, debating for a moment. He kind of looks around as though he's like looking to see if anybody else is there. You know what I mean?
which there isn't.
So he'll kind of he'll look left, he'll look right, look around for a moment. And he'll reach in to his, and he'll pull out his heat, pull out his gun. Okay, he's a set it on the bed between him and Dev. And he'll take Dev's hand and he'll put it on it. And he'll bite his lip.
Dev looks down at it. Back up to Tolia.
And Tolia pleads with him, urging in his eyes.
No, he seriously contemplates it. He stares at the gun for a while.
Totally bites his lip, licks him softly.
He closes his eyes and he sighs. And everything runs through his head. Everything that's happened over the last 10 years. And he just tears will form and run down his cheeks. And he looks so tired. So he picks up the gun.
Tully looks to him.
He looks.
His eyes just filled with sorrow and sadness.
Dev. And he holds it to his temple. Closes his eyes. Takes a very deep breath. And pulls the trigger.
A hollow click. And an empty ring. And Tolia leans in and says, "Did you really think I'd make it that easy for you?" And he'll pull back and smile at him.
Though part of him knew that that was the likely outcome, the rest of him was hoping. And that's Dev's problem. Sometimes he has too much hope. At least so he thinks. He lets out a very frustrated noise. He hands the gun back to Tolia.
We'll take it and spin it back into its holster. Now, if you'll pardon me, I have to go home to my wife. It's our wedding night. I'll get up and pat his cheek. Good night. And I think with that, we can end our scene.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, players, for playing, and thank you, watchers, for watching. Bye-bye.